Good, welcome back to the Uncle Sharma channel. Here once again today, stream back to back, streamed yesterday, talking about Inter's financial difficulties, the 250 million loss, and all that kind of stuff, new stadium news. And today, of course, day before the match, we got to talk about the match tomorrow, Sassuolo versus Inter. Sassuolo, as we know, over the years, a bogey team for Inter, really, aren't they? And yeah, Tommy in the house already, of course, channel member, big regular of the channel. Benjamin Bolivar as well, of course, in the house as well. um the new software I use rocks, by the way. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm enjoying it. The graphics, the little background music is it's nice. It's a nice little change up from StreamYard. It lets me do a few more things, and it lets me stream on Twitter and on Twitch. And yeah, if you actually haven't tested, I actually haven't checked if my Twitch is actually streaming or if it's working or anything. My Twitter works, but if you do not send questions or comments on Twitter, because I realized yesterday that the messages don't come through on this if you're sending them on Twitter. So only comment if you're on YouTube and if you're on Twitch, maybe. Who knows? I don't think anyone's following me on Twitch yet. But yeah, if you guys are interested, I have started a Twitch channel. Well, I started ages ago, but I'm actually going to start testing content on there as well. So if you guys use Twitch, you should be able to find me on there. Same name, Uncle Sharma, twitch.tv, all that good stuff. Mr. Alan Poe in the house as well. What's up? Yeah, it's not gonna be a long one today. Definitely not an hour. I'm gonna try to keep it brief, and most importantly today we have to talk about how can Inter, as Alan Poe says, get back to winning ways, because we have to get back to winning ways after the disappointment of the Champions League. And it's the last match before the international break, so it's vital, to go into the international break, let the players, fly all over the world, but at least with some confidence. And Inzaghi, give him those 2 weeks in the break to think about things, but without any panicking, without any issues. And of course, to keep the pressure, stay near the top, because otherwise the gap between us and Napoli, Milan, all these teams could widen. So it's really, really vital that we do get this win. Sassuolo, as I said, over the years I've become a bit of a bogey team, but I think this Patrick Kendrick is a commentator that you guys must know. He commentates on many Serie A matches for many different feeds, and he says there is no logic to matches between Inter Sassuolo. 15-0 to the Nerazzurri after their first three meetings. Then the Nero Verdi went on to win 7 of the next 8. That's when they became our bogey team. There was no team that we feared more than Sassuolo. It's Interisti. That was the team that we were like, no, not Sassuolo. And then Conte, since Conte appeared, he appeared to have ended the hex. Inter are unbeaten in the last 5. Inzaghi's men are also yet to lose in the season. So yeah, it's a weird one with the Sassuolo. Like I would still count them as a bogey team, to be fair, even though recently we've been fine against them. But Sassuolo themselves, I would say, it's funny that we're playing Sassuolo after playing the Zerbi Shakhtar. And this Sassuolo team still has, very big the Zerbi influence. But Dionisi, the manager who's come in, up and coming young Italian manager who was at Empoli last season, who got Empoli promoted and then jumped ship just as they go into Serie A. Interesting coach, kept the 4-2-3-1, but at the moment they're not, playing as well as their, last few seasons they have been. So comparing it to last season, Sassuolo are less. They have 7 less points, and they've scored 12 less goals than they did at this same point last season. But it looks like the Dionisi is looking to make them a lot more solid defensively. You can see that Sassuolo is a team that do watch here and there, because they have a lot of players that I like watching and they're interesting to watch. And I was interested to watch how Dionisi changes this team. I watched them against Roma. I watched a little bit of the Salernitana match, and yeah, in general, they seem a little bit more defensively compact compared to the Zerbi, who was a lot more open, but scoring a lot less. Even though they haven't really lost anyone apart from Caputo. Their attack is definitely their best part. The likes of Berardi, Boga, Scamacca, Raspadori, Juricic. It's a very good attacking teams, and they kind of have been quite blunt up front. So good signs for Inter that this team is not as good as it has been recently. So those are some positives. to take. But the 4-2-3-1 itself, from tactical videos that I watched. First of all, I'm not a tactical, I haven't, studied coaching or tactics or anything. But from what I understand and what we've seen recently as well, is you'll be able to see in the last few matches, Shakhtar play a 4-3-1 with a high press. Sampdoria, they play more of a 4-4-2, but, one of Caputo and Quagliarella was the one, it was basically a 4-3-1 as well. And tomorrow the Zerbi's, no, sorry, Dionisi's Sassuolo is a 4-3-1. So, from my understanding, the 4-3-1 is the formation that, in theory, is best suited to pressing a 3-5-2. So it's actually the worst matchup for a 3-5-2, the 4-2-3-1, and you can see that here. This is Inter's 3-5-2. Ignore some of the we'll see who starts and who doesn't in the predicted lineups. But here is the 1-2-3-4, 2 and the 3-1, and you can see it's already set up to be, as it is, to be really good at pressing our 3-5-2, because the wingers, they become a man-oriented press to the centre backs. The striker obviously presses the centre back or the keeper, depending on who has the ball. And then when the ball goes into these areas there, they can stop these passes there. And then, of course, the center mids can also man press our medzalas, and then the center backs can mark our two strikers. So it's a formation that's pretty much custom made to be able to press our 3-5-2. So which I've seen we have struggled in. In the Sampdoria match, we really struggled to get out of the press, and against Shakhtar we struggled to get out of the press as well. So it's not the most ideal matchup, this formation. So I hope Inzaghi has learned from the last few matches and has found ways around of beating this press. With Conte used to be, Ericsson in this role that used to come deep, and or Brozovic coming into here or making it a 4 at the back, so you would outnumber them, making it a 4-2-4 as you would say. So there's different ways of tackling it, but I hope Inzaghi's found a counteraction, a countermeasure for this high pressing that we're struggling with at the start of the season. And because another reason why we struggle with this so much now is because we don't have the outball that we used to, to Lukaku in the space, or to Hakimi in the space, which used to be kind of, a cheat code at times, which, in the moments of panic, you can just try to lob it up there and hope for the best. With Dzeko, you have to be a lot more accurate. You can lob the ball up to Dzeko, but it has to be within his area, and he'll bring it down nicely and try to link up with Lautaro. But the partnership with him and Lautaro isn't quite there yet, so we're struggling a little bit to find countermeasures at the moment. But I have trust in Inzaghi to find the countermeasures to that system. Giving a tactical breakdown. Nah, man, as I said, I'm no coach, I'm no tactical genius, I don't know these things. You can go Mo and Inter Worldwide. There's lots of other guys you can find that give much more of a tactical understanding of things. But from my understanding, and as you can see visually there, it makes sense why people say that the 4-2-3-1 is the worst matchup for the 3-5-2 in terms of that pressing phase, not as in general, just in that pressing phase. It's just custom made for that. Bonsoir, doing my friend from Twitter coming in. Carlos, long time listener, first time caller. Oh, damn, he thinks he's calling me. Do you think Hakan will be successful at doing his team leading switch passes this game? Yes, I think that will be the key to this match. I think that is one of the keys for Inzaghi to start beating these high presses, to get Hakan to drop deeper like Ericsson was last season, and maybe ping some balls left, right, and center. But you can give us some more stats, Monsoir, doing on these things. What's the head up match between Inzaghi's Lazio versus Sassuolo? I don't know actually. I don't know actually how to find out, because usually the who scored, it tells you in the preview, but they haven't done a preview for so. Let me have a look. Lazio Sassuolo. Let me see what the last match Lazio played against the Sassuolo was. So last time they played. Oh no, that's a friendly. How do I find out? Is that the friendly as well? Yeah, that's the friendly as well. Yeah, sorry, I don't know how to quite find out. I can't think off the top of my head how they actually did back in the days with Inzaghi versus Sassuolo. Um, but yeah, speaking of Scamacca, Mr. Alampo, he's like the Italian Patrick Schick. But he's more of a target man compared to Patrick Schick. I would say Patrick Schick is more of a. I mean, he's bulked up over the years, but he's definitely a lot more of a creative second striker who likes to roam around all over the place. Scamacca is kind of, you know, target man, proper target man who's got a little bit of technical ability as well compared to other straight up target men. But I don't know if that's quite the right comparison. But speaking of Scamacca, actually, Sassuolo's sporting director today spoke on two of the players that we were linked with this past summer, Raspadori and Scamacca, and he admitted that Beppe Marotta is someone with long-term vision. He asked me for both Raspadori and Scamacca, but he didn't get it done. We want to focus on young players, and this is why we sold Caputo. So yeah, those rumors are definitely confirmed. I don't think there's any, especially with Raspadori, there's no denying because he is like a Inter fan, and it seems like in the two striker formation, I think Raspadori is like an ideal second striker. It really makes a lot of sense. Um, yeah, so definitely want to keep an eye on in the future because Carnevali said Marotta is a good friend of his, so you know got to use those good contacts if you can. And then I want to speak about the Inzaghi press conference as well today. Inzaghi had his press conference here translated by sempreinter.com, and there was a few interesting points, which obviously talked about the lack of killer touch against Shakhtar or in the Champions League in general. But we spoke about this balance issue, and he touched on this as well. He said the balance is very important. In Ukraine, we did well on the defensive level, which I agree. We were a little bit more defensive, but the pressing wasn't good, in my opinion, at all. The high pressing didn't work in any way, shape. They were getting through us very easily, but we suffered a little bit going forward, even though we still had those opportunities. Yeah, and as he said, I think it is a result of the match at that moment. The best attack in Serie A should not struggle, but it can happen. With Real Madrid, we shot 18, 19 times. The other night, much less, but with even more sensational opportunities. We need to improve, yeah. But he says that he doesn't think there is a psychological problem with the Champions League. But I disagree. I think it is a mental issue. If we're still creating the chances and the same chances that we take in Serie A, we're not taking in Champions League. So to me, that just sounds like a mental issue. And then speaking on tomorrow's match, it's definitely not an easy match. The seventh in 20 days. Let's not forget, guys. It's been such a busy period. We are facing a team that plays very good football with excellent individuality. We know that the real Inter will be needed. Then he also touched on the 245 million loss, saying he's obviously not the best person to talk about it. But the first goal was to secure the club. I think the next year's balance will be much better, as I pointed out yesterday in my video. But also going forward, I am expecting next year. This is not what Inzaghi said, but this is why I'm saying that next year I am expecting another sale if Suning are still there, unfortunately. And then he also spoke on Hakan. Funnily, Mr. Godwing here asked about Hakan, and a few Interisti are unhappy with Hakan. Personally, I think he's doing okay. I really don't understand why the slander is coming. And obviously, he's going to say these things to, give Hakan confidence as well. But I did enjoy him saying he's satisfied with Chala. He combines quality with quantity, especially the quantity part. I've been surprised with how much he's been working hard and covering defensively as well. I've been impressed with him. Quality can definitely do a lot better. Um, the starting bench in Kiev was not a reference to Atalanta because I analyzed the next day and I liked it, and I like what he did as well. I have many midfielders who are doing well from time to time, so I can make different choices. Yeah, and that's the thing. Our squad is big this season, so um, it's good that Hakan should feel like his spot is challenged. I'm always happy. I always say, even if Barella has 2 or 3 bad matches, everyone should feel that their spot is not guaranteed in this team, even if they play badly, and that's what they should have with Handanovic. And speaking of Handanovic, Inzaghi pretty much stab in the heart of many Inter fans. Again, he's gonna say this, to bolster the confidence and give confidence to Handanovic as the captain. But the key words that he used here was, okay, we will think about the cup when it arrives. They asked him if would he play under Radu in the Coppa Italia when the chance comes. And then he was like, we'll think about the cup when it arrives. Handanovic is the captain and the leader in the locker room, a great goalkeeper who will play for Inter, and these are the key word, for many years. Actually, um, the Italian, the way he said it in Italian, I think is not translated fully correctly here, because he said he will make the fortunes of Inter. He's saying that he will be, very important for Inter for many years. That those two words there, many years. Those are not the words we want to hear as Inter fans, because we're already, this year is already a problem to us with Nanovic starting, and this guy is talking about many years. So I hope that's not, really his deep, real thoughts, and the club's thoughts, most importantly, because I hope the Handanovic situation is sorted by next season, because it has to be. Fully respect, as always, I keep saying, is not a slander to Handanovic, but he is a weak point in the team now and it has to be addressed. And yeah, in terms of injury wise as well, Inzaghi mentioned it as well. Only Stefano Sensi is the guy injured now. Surprise, surprise. I mean, no surprise there, but our infirmary at the moment is completely empty. Vidal has come back from his injury. Correa has come back from his injury. The only guy who is injured is Stefano Sensi. So, yeah. So that's good news for Inzaghi in terms of rotation options, in terms of substitute options. So but of course, funnily enough, the infirmary clears just as the international break is coming. So I expect some of the South Americans to come back with injuries. Correa, whatever issue he has, probably flares up again whilst he's somewhere in Bolivia or in Peru at 10,000 feet altitude, playing, at 10 o'clock at night and having to catch his flight at 2 o'clock on a Friday afternoon, and then, having to play the next day for Inter. Some crazy stuff like that, as always, will happen after the international break. But we'll cross that bridge when it comes. And yeah, let's get into the predicted lineups. As Sunit says here, will Boga play like Messi again? Probably will. He's especially against Inter. He does turn up. He's one of the types of players that our centre backs probably do struggle against. We've seen against Shakhtar, a lot of the Sassuolo players are the types of players that our players struggle against. Short, quick on the first few meters, tricky, good dribblers. The likes of Duricic, the likes of Berardi, Boga, Raspadori, Lopez. These small little tricky players who can weave in and out of tight spaces. It doesn't really matter if you press them because they're very press resistant. And Boga, of course, is predicted to start for Sassuolo in all the predicted lineups. So I've got two predicted lineups here. One is from Sport Media Set, both the Italian news websites that I use that are pretty reliable for me. And then Sky Sport Italia is the other one. These guys are usually pretty spot on. Sport Media Set I find are not as reliable, but they seem pretty similar. Sky Sport actually has Dumfries starting instead of Darmian, but I think it will be Darmian coming back in. And because it is against it would be against the Boga, I think defensively Darmian gives you a lot more, right now anyway, it gives you a lot more defensive solidity. I think it gives Inzaghi a lot more security, and it seems like still Inzaghi does prefer Darmian to Denzel Dumfries. Here Sport Media I have Darmian, so I think it will be Darmian in my opinion. Perisic returning on the left hand side, which is also the case for Sky Sport Italia, which I agree with. I think I've seen a little bit of slander for Di Marco. Some people, I saw people saying, he's overrated after his performance against Shakhtar, and some people saying he's not into level. But I expected these kind of initial few weeks, months of Di Marco, because he is coming from Hellas Verona. He's never played in Europe. He hasn't really got that much experience. He's 23, but I wouldn't say he's young, but he still lacks top level experience. So I do expect these kind of performances where he's not particularly impressive, but let's give the guy some time. The problem with Di Marco is he doesn't have the speed and the athleticism of Perisic, so he's not able to 1v1. Him and Darmian actually are both pretty useless when it comes to 1v1. They're not going to beat a guy with pace. Di Marco, I've seen him sometimes here and there. You can have a little skill, like a little fake shot, fake cross or something like that, but really athleticism, 1v1 ability is not as strong. He's going to either try to cross it early, try to do an early cross so he doesn't face the defender 1v1. Um, that's why he's so good when he plays as a left centre back, as we've been coming on impact substitute, or when we played as a 4-4-2 and he was coming on as a left back. So when he is able to come from a little bit deeper, he's good, or he's better. Whereas Perisic has a little bit more 1v1 ability, even though he's advancing age, but Perisic still has that ability to get that half a yard just to get that cross in. And covering ground as well. Physically, he's a lot more, stronger. Defensively, I would still prefer Perisic over Dimarco at the moment. But let's give Dimarco some time, man. Let's give Dimarco got some time. As the same with Dumfries, he wasn't good against Shakhtar at all. I don't know. Some people were saying that maybe he was shaken after that injury that he caused to Lassina Traore, which also makes sense, but also raises some doubts on his mentality. But I doubt that it was because of that. I think he just had an off match like many others did in that Shakhtar match. Hakan coming back into the starting lineup, I agree. Vecino showed. I think Vecino showed in that last match that he's definitely is like many other players in this team. I think he's definitely much better, Vecino, when he's an impact substitute. What we saw against Atalanta, bring him on when there's chaos in the team in terms of we just need to score a goal or we need to get people into the box. Bring Vecino on. He gets into the box. He causes chaos. He'll win balls high up. He's good at pressing. He'll win balls back as well. Hakan, I think you need that. I think Hakan as well. With Hakan, I think he's better as a starter. He's not a impact guy. I don't think he's got the mentality or that hunger when you come into a match to change the match around. So I think Hakan, if you play him, he should be starting. And I don't really see him making much of an impact as a substitute unless it's like a set piece or something. So yeah, I'm happy with going back to the original starting midfield. And of course, now ideally one of these two should be resting now, Brozovic or Barella, but it's just before the international break. So now Inzaghi won't care about that. The international teams can handle the problems afterwards. So now he's going to play the strongest possible lineup. Up front, the Martinez is definitely starting. The 50-50s between Dzeko and Joaquin Correa, Tuco Correa. Sport Media say have Tuco Correa starting. Sky Sport have Edin Dzeko starting. Personally, I want to see Tuco Correa coming in now. Tuco Correa apparently has got rid of his issue that he had, the little hit that he had from De Silvestri in the Bologna match, which was hurting him. Apparently he's still feeling some pain, so he's not 100%, but if Correa has 50-60 minutes in him, we need to start seeing that Lautaro Correa, that Cola partnership starting to blossom, because he's starting to. There's been a few matches now that he hasn't been able to really provide any impact. Against Shakhtar, he was ghosting once again until that moment where he created that shot out of nothing. But we need Correa's space, 1v1 ability, dribbling, creativity. That's what this team needs at the moment. Dzeko, poor guy, man. He's 35. I wasn't even expecting him to play this many games as he has been until now. So already he's playing a lot more than I think he expected, and a lot more than I expected. He's already a lot more important than I expected already to this team, and it shouldn't be the case. At his age now, the guy just can't handle this many games in succession. So I hope Joaquin Correa can come to fitness soon. And let's not forget Alexis Sanchez as well, who also was decent when he came on against Shakhtar. Shouldn't be discounted as a possible option as well. Let me see what you guys are saying. Tommy's like, nah, he's got to be capping. Handanovic must go. Yeah, I hope he's capping, man. I hope he's capping. Ahmad, I think Ahmad is right. People are reading too much into Inzaghi's word. He has to be diplomatic when talking about players. As I was talking about with the Hakan, he's not going to say that I'm not happy with the Hakan, but also he could say that these guys need to do better, or Hakan needs to do something like this better. But it seems like Inzaghi, unlike Conte, is someone who's a lot more prone to give the nice into the media anyway, say nice things in the media. Maybe privately he says some stern words. Hopefully Correa is not cold. I know I think he will be in the squad for sure. If he's not injured, he's going to be in the squad, unfortunately. Lozano declined to be called by Mexico just to heal for Napoli. Yeah, but I think his injury was a little bit more serious Correa's is just a little impact injury that's kind of causing him a little pain, but it's not serious. Lozano's injury was a little bit more serious from what I understand. Yeah, of course, a lot of things, everything is up in the air. It all depends on the on what happens with Suning. The oak tree won't be restructured because there's only 1 year. The bonds will be restructured. The oak tree loan won't be restructured, but the 400 million bonds, as Antonello confirmed today, will be restructured. And yeah, of course, the UCL income will, of course, impact as well. The extra 20 million that you get just for going into the final 16, and then the extra 10, 50 million to the next round. Like, it's a big multiplier effect once you start going in the later stages of Champions League. And I'm sure Suning would love, and Inter's books would love some extra income from that. Yeah, Indra's Sassuolo, from what I watched them, they're pretty much the same as Dionisi. Still, heavily based on possession, a little bit less though, not as heavy on the possession side. Yeah, actually, let me see how they are currently ranking in terms of possession. Still similar. He spoke himself. He doesn't want to change too much from the Zerbi times, but they are a little bit more vertical, a little bit more direct, and a little bit more defensive, as I said. So still averaging 56% possession, which is quite high. That's more than Inter. So similar style. Like, once again, I expect probably Inter to have a little bit less possession like we did against Shakhtar, but the important thing to see is, are we going to approach it like we did last season? Remember the 2-1 victory that we had at San Siro, and the 3-0 victory that we had against Sassuolo at their home, which is going to be, tomorrow we're going to their home. The 3-0 victory, this was coming, remember, this was the turning point of interseason, that 3-0 victory. Could this be the turning point of interseason this time around as well? Because, that was later on, that was like in November, that Sassuolo match, and that was after Inter, that was straight after the Vidal red card against Real Madrid, against that loss, after that loss against Real Madrid. The whole hashtag Conte out brigade really was gaining power then. And that was the match that Conte gave up on the 3-4-1-2, Zdenek Zeman, Gasperini, Bielsa tactics, and went back to 3-5-2, much deeper, lower center of gravity for the whole, team, lower pressing, and 3-0 that match worked straight away. I remember Barella played as the regista in that match. Vidal kind of, atoned for his error straight away. Gagliardini balled out that match with a great goal. And actually Darmian came in for Hakimi, because Hakimi didn't play two good matches against Real Madrid in the Champions League. So that was the time where Hakimi sat out for a bit, and Darmian showed him how to be, good defensive wing back. So maybe this is the turning point, in the same way that Inzaghi finds the right balance, because we're still trying to find that right balance with Inzaghi, as we've seen. Sometimes we seem to be a little bit too attacking. In Shakhtar, we seem to be a little bit more too defensive. Can we find the right balance here? And Dumfries, maybe has to sit out for Darmian, like Hakimi had to sit out for Darmian last year. So there could be some parallels. Ooh, go away, little fly. There could be some parallels to the Sassuolo match last year. Italian players tend to mature late. Then, for example, English players, patience is needed. Yeah, that depends. I think that's a bit of a generalization, but of course, I think because in England they're given the chance a lot earlier than they are in Italy. Di Marco only really and truly became a first team player last season for Hellas Verona. Finally, after loan stints at he went to Switzerland, to Sion, he went to Parma. He was at Hellas Verona, and then he went to Hellas Verona again. And last season was first time at 22 years of age that he finally nailed down an actual first team spot. Every player, has got their own, development curve. So our wing back struggled because the midfield struggled too, and the Limone midfield is key. Yeah, defensively the midfield hasn't been as good as it was last season, but again, I think it's mainly due to the balance that we're still trying to find, and I think Inzaghi's still trying to tweak some tactics. Tommy says, I'm not convinced Vecino can't start, but I'm fine if he doesn't, as long as he's part of the team. Yeah. And I always said, I think we'll find out this season. I've always said, because last year Gagliardini was only ahead of Vecino because of Vecino's long-term injury, and then once Vecino came back in February, March time. It was too late. Conte had his hierarchy decided already, so there was no way he was changing unless Gagliardini got another some sort of injury. So, but we've saw even under Conte when Vecino and Gagliardini were both fit, Vecino was ahead of Gagliardini in the pecking order, and I think for Inzaghi will be same. Even though people say that because Gagliardini was linked with the Lazio, that Inzaghi likes Gagliardini more. I don't know about that. That's probably Iglitare more than Inzaghi. Vecino can be Al Caicedo under Limone for us. Vecino is dangerous when making runs into the box. Yeah, you know, I don't think we need to compare him directly to any Lazio player, but yeah, he can definitely be that impact substitute as we saw against Atalanta that comes in and just creates chaos in the box. Honestly, I like Correa to go. Is get to train and play with Lautaro more over there. Yeah, exactly. Correa probably does need some minutes under his legs now and to build that partnership with Argentina. So it's probably not a bad thing for Correa to go. Do you reckon we need to reinforce with Onana, striker already in January? I would try Onana and lone striker. Um, as we've said, Victor, man, you calm your expectations down for January. I don't think we'll be able to do much in January. Yes, loans are probably definitely possible. Onana, as I said in my previous video, definitely I would try to get Onana in January, even though he's playing in the African Cup of Nations, which means he's probably not going to be available the whole of January, so he would only be available February onwards. But just to get him acquainted to Italy, get him fit in, start learning the language, get integrated into the team. Yeah, I would definitely try to bring him in for a minimal fee if it's possible. Striker wise, we're there, man. In terms of numbers wise, I don't think we're going to bring in anyone. We've got 5 strikers. We've got Dzeko, Lautaro, Correa, Sanchez, and Satriano. Unless we loan out Satriano, we don't really need numbers wise anyone else. Definitely, we can get higher quality than Satriano or Sanchez or whoever you think, in terms of your opinion. But I don't think we're going to do anything in terms of strikers. But definitely, yeah, I think keepers wise, I definitely would do something, and midfield wise, we probably could improve on some quality there once again. But numbers wise, we're fine. I don't think much is going to happen, unfortunately. Are they planning to extend contract with Correa? I mean, Correa just signed, bro. What do you mean planning to extend the contract with Correa? Correa's signed for 4 seasons, so there's nothing to extend there. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I saw that rumor, but I don't want to talk about January yet, my guys. We're in even October is today. Let's see. Let's reevaluate in a month, in November, in December, to see like where we are. Where are the injuries? Are there any injuries? And then we can reevaluate for January. I know everyone likes to talk about the transfer market and stuff, but yeah, we'll reevaluate. And I saw a few messages regarding the Donny van de Beek, the Manchester United midfielder. Great player. I like the player. I've never rated him as highly as some people do, even at that amazing Ajax run. You guys know I'm quite I'm heavy on the aesthetics. He's a little bit clunky to me in terms of his technique and stuff. But obviously Ajax school, very clean, very good passing, one touch, two touch play, gets into the box, and he's a goal scoring midfielder, which is something that we lack. But he's not ball carrier. He's not a ball carrier. He's not really much of a dribbler. He doesn't add. I don't see the what extra he adds to the team that we don't already have. Like in terms of, yeah, he adds maybe some more goals, but then the guy hasn't been able to adapt to the Premier League or to Manchester United for this year and a half. So now you want him to come to Serie A for 6 months or whatever and try to adapt to a completely different league from the Eredivisie, and completely, like, the difference between Eredivisie and Premier League is massive already, and then Premier League to Serie A is about as different as you could possibly get. So I don't really see the fit in that, because alone it should be someone that you bring in as an impact to improve on the team, unless it's like a year, like a loan with actually to buy someone, or like a 2-year loan where you got a long term. But when you bring in someone in a loan in January, it has to be someone that's able to impact the team straight away. And with Van de Beek, he would need a lot of time to integrate. And salary wise, I'll have to check, but I don't imagine he's going to be cheap. Premier League teams always, and especially Man United, always pay a lot of money. But we know we like shopping at Man United. Marotta's always done some miracles with Man United over the last couple of seasons. So he's definitely could be a good option if he's available on a loan. But as I said, he's not particularly my first option. I'll rather look for someone that's actually able to slot in January. You need to be able to make an impact. I don't think Van de Beek is that guy for me. Um, they do deserve to be rested, but I've been saying they should have been rested earlier on in the season. Like I feel like they should have been rested already for the Bologna game, for other games that we've already played. Now before the international, because as I said, Inzaghi's not going to care about what happens in the international. These two are gonna play. I would like for them to be rested, and this like D'Ambrosio, I feel like would be fine in a match like this. Covering for Boga on that side with Darmian, I think they should be fine. But it is what it is. It seems like Inzaghi is not willing to rotate at the back, and you can't blame him. He seems like he wants to go fully in that thing in that back three. Um, yeah, we spoke about this intro. I don't know if you missed the beginning of the video. We spoke about the issues with the high pressing and especially 4-2-3-1 formation against our 3-5-2 in the build up. But it will take time. It will take time. I'm sure he's going to tweak some tactics. I'm sure he can see the issues in the build up. So we just have to wait and see how he addresses those. But there's definitely issues in the build up compared to last season. But we have to remember Conte. There's not many managers out there like Conte who have these automized, passing patterns. Inzaghi doesn't really do that same. It's like coached and drilled into the players. Inzaghi allows a lot more freedom. So maybe it's that lack of memorized movements that the players are struggling with now. But we'll see, man. We'll see. I don't want to jump on that too early. We have to give the guy time to work on in the training ground. He hasn't had time, guys. These matches, as I said before the start of this period, I said um, you only have like one day on the training ground really to work on tactics and stuff, and that will be focusing on the other team's tactics, not on your own. He needs like that break that we have, the winter break, when the players have a break, but then there's also like a week of preparation where coaches can actually work on things tactically on the pitch as well. So I think that will be the period when we finally start to see some new there's tactics that Inzaghi wants to implement into this team. Yeah, it is low risk, high reward, but then is numerically we're fine in midfield. Someone has to leave numerically in midfield. Thank you, Lord Figo. Yeah, let's get into match predictions. Do you think Inzaghi will try the four at the back? Yeah, we've seen it. We went four at the back in the second half against Atalanta, and Conte as well sometimes used to do it. But yeah, these Inzaghi and Conte seem pretty married to the three at the back system. So it's only within the match that we will go change to four at the back, as we saw against Atalanta. Yeah, you've answered your own question already there, Ricky. Yeah, exactly. I don't know why people are already looking forward to the transfer market. Yeah, it's almost like, people forget about, everyone's like Suning out, Suning, these guys are broke. And then everyone starts talking about the transfer market as if, you forgot the issues that we have. But yeah, match prediction, guys. Sassuolo, tricky team, but this season they're not scoring much. Berardi, who's usually, another Interista who likes to turn up against us. He was out of the team because he put in a transfer request at the beginning of the season, and it didn't happen. So he's only recently come back into the team, and he's not captain anymore as he was last year. So Boga has always been up and down, not been really that great in terms of form. Raspadori's only got the one goal this season. So going forward, I'm not really too scared of these guys. Obviously, they lost Locatelli in here as well. Frattesi looks like a nice, he's definitely one to watch out for. Much more of a box-to-box threat, seems like Frattesi. Maxim Lopez, tiny little regista who can definitely, be got at physically for this Inter midfield. But this Inter team should be able to be the Sassuolo team, even though over the years we have struggled against Sassuolo. But in my opinion, we go back to winning ways. I think we'll still concede a goal. I'm still not convinced this team defensively has found the right balance yet at times. But I'm going for like Ricky said, I think a 2-1 victory, or maybe even 3-1 victory. Actually, wouldn't be surprised if there's a high scoring match with the 3-2, something like that. But I'm going to go for 3-1 3-1 victory for Inter, going back to winning ways. I think one of the centre backs will score again, and then yeah, Lautaro, and then maybe a late goal from a substitute like Vidal or Vecino, someone in coming in like that. Um, Inter Ireland is going for a 3-1 as well. Will win 6 out of 6 in October, even being Juve. Yeah, um, actually, good point to bring up because Inter released like this little calendar graphic today on their Twitter, which is I'm going to bring it up just before I leave today. Here it is with Dzeko there. After we come back from the international break, it's going to be a very busy period. Lazio as when we come back, then Sheriff in the Champions League, then Juventus, Empoli, and Udinese. So October is going to be another busy period. Some big matches like Lazio and Juventus. 6 out of 6. Wow, very confident, but that would be amazing. Raji says 3-2. Raspadori to score a late screamer. Wow, and taking off his top and showing his Inter top as well. Yeah, there were rumors of Berardi to Leicester, but I wouldn't. Berardi in the Premier League, he would get eaten up, in my opinion. I think that would be an awful fit. Yeah, Johari, I know transfer market is exciting, but we're in October. We're at the beginning of October. We can talk about it definitely when it comes to December. When it comes to January, we'll be spending the whole month talking about transfer window. But now we spend the whole summer talking about that. So now let's focus on football. 3-2 victory. Berardi and Juricic become prime Ronaldo, Messi against us. Yeah, yeah. That does happen quite a lot, doesn't it? We'll see. We'll see. But yeah, thank you very much, guys. We'll see you tomorrow, 5 p.m. UK time kickoff. I might do a watch along tomorrow because it is 5 p.m. It's quite a nice time to do a watch along, maybe for me especially. So I'll see. Keep a lookout on the channel, and obviously there'll be a post-match reaction depending. So yeah, guys, make sure you leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel. And yeah, we'll see you for the post-match reaction. Ciao ragazzi, forza